Hey y'all, and welcome to Not So Lovely Topics with LoveLi. Happy New Year, happy 2026. And today we're going to start part one of my series on complexity and how, if we understood how complex we are as human beings, we will be able to not take things so personally and also be able to not internalize the things of other people and more so walk through life with less stress and be able to accumulate more peace because of the fact that we understand the people in ourselves enough to be able to have peace. Okay? I want to start this by saying I don't think that I'm nor a good or a bad person, right? But situations and how people perceive other people and their own trauma and triggers determine how we are perceived by other people as good or bad, right? Now, if I say that, I have to take into account of three different things. Number one, some people and most people actually relate what somebody is doing and how somebody is doing and saying based off of their feelings more so than what is actually happening. So we internalize things based off of how things make us feel. Two, people feel entitled to you. And there's a large majority of people who are people pleasers. So a lot of the things, when you start to step out and try to be able to basically, I'm not going to do this. I want to do this. I'm not going to talk all the time. I'm going to want to talk when I want to talk. I'm going to want to have conversations that appease me, right? And I'm going to accept what I want to accept, not what other people want me to accept. And in those situations, you are either going to look like a good or a bad person based off of how entitled somebody feels to your energy. Three, we come into this world kind of on a clean slate. Now, I read this book. It talks about the subconscious mind and how we carry not only our whole entire ancestry, but also universal consciousness, right? So we carry each other in our mind. But at the same time, in saying that, I would still consider most of it, we're going to say it's a clean slate when you are born, right? Your experience in life creates your triggers. So if people are not actually working on themselves and you are around people who are not working on themselves, of course they're going to be triggered because they have not dealt with the things that are causing them to be triggered. And they are not aware of their triggers because they are allowing themselves to be delusional on the fact that certain things have hurt them. And that is a problem within itself. So we have two different problems here. People not even acknowledging the bad things that have happened to them. And then people who are choosing to have these things and stay in victimhood instead of trying to heal those things so that they can understand in different situations when somebody is actually coming after you and when somebody is actually being genuine and you take it the wrong way because of how somebody else made you feel or your own insecurities or your own hatred within yourself. Because we are all mirrors, right? So this is something that I've been working on since I was 19 years old. But like being able to understand who you are, what hurts you, is such a superpower. Because in doing that, you understand that if I'm complex in the ability of how I interpret things, other people are complex too. So I can't expect what somebody to say all to align with what I think it is, right? And in certain situations, you have to just allow yourself to flow. And if it does not align with the people who are around you and they interpret you a different way, they're showing you that these people are not aligned with you. Especially if these people are not working on themselves and you are working on yourself. They are not aligned with you because y'all are on two different paths. They won't even take the time to learn why they feel the type of way about this. And you trying to figure out why you feel the way about this. And also why the other person feels the way they feel about what you said. Right? It's like telephone. I can say something just because I said this, like just because I said, hey, the sky's blue, doesn't mean when I get to the next person ain't gonna say the sky's blue. They might say something else. But it's based off of their own understanding of what I'm saying. Based off of their mind and how they connect the dots of what I'm talking about or what I'm doing, right? And I can give you an example of this. I can actually give you two examples. I'm gonna give you an example of somebody who actually is trying to hurt somebody, and I'm gonna give you an example of a trigger, right? So, mind you, I've been working on this and being able to understand my trigger since I was 19 years old, right? So, last year, mind you, I was 23 at the time. I went and I modeled in this fashion show, and this woman grabbed me, but she grabbed me on my wrist. And I used to date somebody who actually used to hold me by my wrist. When we were having an argument, he would hold me by my hands or by my wrist so that I wouldn't leave, right? When she did that, she was actually holding me back from something that we had practiced multiple different times, right? She held me back from what we had practiced, and she changed the routine, and she controlled me to change the routine, right? Situation, similar action, different situation. After that, I actually did not say anything till after the performance, because in my head, I had to rationalize, am I triggered by this because it reminds me of something, or am I triggered by this because she actually did me wrong, right? I didn't want to go strictly into victimhood because I didn't want to, I had to evaluate the situation before I reacted, instead of just reacting based off of what I know. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's what we have to do as people. We have to actually try to understand situations so that we will not put ourselves in situations that are not only incorrect, but insensitive to both parties. Well, insensitive to one party of two parties. So I actually told her later, I said, do not grab me by my wrist. You know that was not our routine. And you grabbed me by my wrist. And mind y'all, she grabbed me hard. I literally was pulling. I was like, what is going on? And I couldn't even walk right after that because I was in shock. Yeah. I said, don't grab me again. And I said, you will see me again, but do not touch me. And I walked away from her. Now, I told her that that was a trigger. But in the instance of how she did it, she knew she was wrong. So that is a situation of how I will work through my trigger in a situation where somebody's actually trying to hurt me. Now, I have been in a situation where, actually, I have to think about a time that somebody has actually tried to hurt me and I took it as them hurting me. That's bad, actually. Dang. That's bad on my part, more so, in my opinion. Oh, my first boyfriend. We can use him as an example. My first boyfriend, he actually, because I was thinking about the examples, and I'm like, sometimes I just be too early. Like, I just be figuring it out too early. It's not necessarily that I be triggered by something. It's just that my intuition end up going off. But, like, first boyfriend, he was very sweet. And I would have my guard up the entire time. And that was because I was hurt before. And interaction and anything romantic was triggering for me. And I was 16 at the time. And I just didn't want to be in a situation. So because of how the internal war that I had inside of me, so I just broke up with him as soon as he left. As soon as he graduated, I just broke up with him. Like, literally. So, literally, understanding other people is going to be able to help us to create. I feel like that is the only way people will be able to create utopia, is because it's no way that we all going to think the same. Like, as soon as y'all understand that, nobody's going to think exactly the same as you. And none of us are always right, in a sense. That's when you'll be more peaceful with yourself. Like, somebody having an attitude. I remember when I worked at a restaurant. Yeah, we're going to call it a restaurant. When I worked at a food place, for my first food place I ever worked at, we had people who didn't say hey when I said hey to them. Now, me, I didn't take that personally. So, the reason why I don't take it personally is because I had to put in my mind that not everybody's having a good day. And some people are too overstimulated to be able to say hey immediately. Sometimes they just want to just say their order. Now, is that a good thing? No. And could it hurt me? Yes, it could have hurt my feelings. And it could hurt somebody else's feelings that's watching this who's also in the service industry. But if we take the time to understand that sometimes people are overstimulated and they're not able to respond, we can brush it off as not being personal because they're not trying to hurt you, but it did hurt you. And that's why I said we are not good nor bad, because situations end up having us to be those type of ways. How else do I have to say? This has been on my mind for like a month now, and it's crazy. I don't know what I'm supposed to be saying. But let's say this. People can't internalize what people do because people live their own lives. Sonder is the understanding of other people having their own realities and everything. Oh, and part 2 will be about realities, because that is literally comparison and jealousy and envy start with the understanding that other people have complex realities rather than you are the only one and your reality is the only one that makes sense. So we're going to stay tuned for that. But I'm not necessarily saying that sometimes people do stuff and they do it unintentionally, but I'm just saying everybody is not doing something intentionally. Everybody is not saying something intentionally to hurt you, to scold you, to shame you. And if you take things as somebody always triggering you and trying to be mean to you and trying to do something to you, I got something to tell you. You're literally a part of your own demise, because you look at the world from a lens of attack. You look at the world from a lens of being in survival and everybody being a person who is doing wrong by you. Now, and the thing about it is, some people actually try to not look at the lens that way, but they get in situations where people are constantly messing with them. And I have been that person. And I used to get called naive because I didn't think that people would hurt me. And then people started to hurt me. And then it got to a point where when I tell my stories or when I talk about something, it could seem like all these bad things are happening. But the thing about it is, I have allowed these people to be in my spaces so much that sometimes that is a story that I have. Like, yeah, they hurt me, and that's why they gotta get away from around me, right? So that is the case sometimes, but I just feel like we have to understand that when we keep having the same trigger, oh, somebody is saying something about me, oh, somebody is looking at me weird, oh, somebody is talking about me, and we result in anger, and we're always resulting in anger and reacting and all these other things. We got some things that we need to work on, and we need to understand that when it's actually us that is actually causing our own demise, because the only peace that you will have, you will not look for peace. There is no looking for peace. Peace is inside of you. So when you get into this habit of always thinking that, oh, I'm going to find it in other people and I'm going to find this in these situations, the thing about it is, when you actually get in your peace bag for real, baby, it's going to be times where things are constantly coming to you. Constantly. People constantly trying to play with you. People from your past, as you're changing, people are constantly going to try to play with you because they're unaligned. And they need to get the hell away from you. It's not necessarily that people are all bad. It's just the people you got around you are bad. And you have gotten so accustomed to this behavior that you accept it from other people. And I have been in that place. And that's why I'm speaking like this. You get so accustomed to being around these people. And then you have all these stories about horrible things. And that's why I flushed my whole entire everything. All the people who was playing with me and I constantly had bad stories, I had to let them go. These are now stories to tell. But I ain't dealing with nothing like that no more at all. They're stories to tell, but I don't have them situations on me right now. But now that I'm in this space of not having those situations, I have flushed all of them out. Now I have to welcome in energies that do not trigger me and are aligned with me. And not because they do not trigger me because of what they're saying. Let me say this. They do not trigger me intentionally. Intentionally is the word. They don't trigger me intentionally, not because I can't take it the wrong way, but because they're actually aligned with me and for me. Because the thing about it is, the same reason people keep on playing with you, because God is literally warning you and telling you they need to get the hell away from you. And that's the thing. We get into this habit of being like, oh, these folks can't keep doing this. You dating this dude, he won't do right. Every single time you talk to somebody, you telling your friends, oh, they won't do right. They don't do this. They don't do that. They don't know how to do this right. Baby, how many warnings you need, honey? How many warnings do you really need? I'm just saying, somebody gonna be mad at me for that. I don't care. Do I need to hold your hand? Nah, I'm not holding your hand when I say nothing. Literally. We are the people who, even though our story is written, we are annotating our story. How do I want to say that? You got a story, right? But based off your decisions, your story changes. It's just like this book, this movie from Black Mirror. So you decide that you want to do this way, and you get this outcome. That is mainly on you, because even if I walk into a door, if I don't like what's inside that door, I can literally close the door. The door is not gluing me. Even if it costs me, if it pains me to leave the room, because I have the will and the authority over my life. God has a full authority over my life, but I have authority over my actions. Because when we're on this plane, we are susceptible to evil. and good things. We are susceptible to evil and good things. So I can't sit here and say that all these things are happening to me because God don't like me, or God playing with me, or God don't do this, or God ain't in my life. Right? How many times he gotta warn you to get the hell away from these folks for you to actually listen? And why are you blaming God for the fact that your life ain't nothing, but you ain't literally doing nothing to make it something? Right? Same situation with you always blaming other people about your triggers. I'm sorry that this happened to you when you was a child. I'm sorry that these people treated you weird. I'm sorry that your friends were bad growing up. But now that we're older, you gonna either leave folks alone and stop tolerating what's going on, or form new connections that are healthy for you. You can't keep blaming other people for who you're entertaining, and then down the lines, you months in, you years in, you decades in, and now you complaining, and you constantly complaining, talking about you miserable and all this stuff, but you're choosing this. Why? Because you have an attachment to your demise more than you have an attachment to you finding peace. You are attached to keeping people around and not being alone more than you are attached to having a stabilized nervous system and being out of stress. And the thing about it is, we can relate back to what I said at the beginning. I read this book. Oh, and it's going to be a crazy connection that just came out of my head. But we're just going to take it, and I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. Even though I'm okay with it not being right in all situations. But this is the thing. My people. Now, I am black and other stuff, but I am predominantly black. My people are so accustomed to being in hostile situations and stressful situations that we tolerate and advocate for things that are stressing us even more. Violence, overworking ourselves, stressing ourselves. All these things date back. We done been through so much. When are we going to take our own peace back? How are we going to want peace in the world and justice in the world, and we don't have justice in our own homes, in our own communities? What are we talking about? We don't even respect ourselves in our own communities enough to be able to want anything outside of ourselves. We need to get it in us. Now, that's not necessarily for me to say that we can't do two things at once. But what I'm saying right now is, we talk a lot of rah-rah what other people are doing to us, but we do it to ourselves. In some situations, we do it to ourselves too. How about that? We do it to ourselves too and expect other people to treat us better. But you don't treat yourself better. You sitting over there talking about, I wish I had a good man. I wish I had this. But you go home and allow somebody to treat you like a spit. Let's really think about this. You go home and you allow somebody to treat you terribly. But you complain about your conditions, but you won't fix them. Because the possession of something is better than the treatment and the quality of something to other people. Y'all would rather have quantity over quality. It's dudes out here complaining about how all these girls ain't nothing, but the whole roster is full of losers. Why? Because they can't put themselves in a certain position to be able to have the people who worth something. Because they feel so low about themselves that they don't think that they deserve good things. That's why the thing about me is, I'm going to always tell y'all to learn how to love yourselves. Because your embodiment of love and being an embodiment of love is going to emit out of you to be able to attract the certain situations that you're supposed to. And that's not to say the moth ain't going to want to come. No, that's not to say, I like moths. So, that's not to say that the mosquitoes are not going to come to the flame with the moth, right? And it might be more mosquitoes than moths. And especially during this day and time, people are leeches. People are energy vampires. People are literally looking for, they feel entitled to your energy, you talking to them. They feel entitled to your space. They feel entitled to quality time. But they ain't doing nothing. They talking about you behind your back, but they want you to spend time with them. Right? They get mad when you don't text back, but they talk about you. Right? So we got more of those in this world than people who are actually beautiful inside and out. And all of us are beautiful. It's just the thing about it is, we allow the ways of the world to corrupt us to the point where we don't feel like we can take accountability for our part in something. And that's what kills me. Because I done been in a place where I was like, oh, I'm going to be a villain. But baby, I never really could be a villain. I just really didn't want to be in love with nobody. I couldn't be a villain. I never even had no whole phase. We gotta take accountability for our part in certain things, especially when we sitting around talking about how we don't feel like we deserve this. But if you were in a room with what you say you deserve, you will get imposter syndrome and say that you're not worthy. So what do we do in order to feel worthy of what we want? We work on ourselves. We learn to love ourselves. We love ourselves with nothing. Y'all literally can't tell me nothing, and I don't even have a job right now. I'm still abundant. I'm still in the house. I'm still abundant. I'm still beautiful. I'm still worth it. And worth it for more than what I possess, because I know that I serve a God that's so good that He radiates through me. I serve a God that's so good that it really doesn't matter what I possess. But the thing about it is, I won't say that and say that I don't want to work towards different things. I'm just saying that to say that even if I had nothing, I'm still something. And that's why I don't treat homeless people bad or anything. I treat them like regular people, because like even if you have nothing, you're still something. Let's say this. In order for some people to be able to understand that, they have to actually feel it inside themselves. Like, then some people who, and in the next episode, we're going to talk about authenticity and how some people miscalculate a person's character based off of how they feel about themselves rather than how the other person is in their heart. And because they don't see it as a reality for them. And that's going to be the closing of this episode right now. It's me telling you all that stay tuned for next Tuesday, where we talk about realities and how authenticity is sometimes misconstrued. Sometimes people don't understand your reality because they can't relate to it, and so they get upon themselves to denounce who you are, what you stand for, and what your heart is full of, because it doesn't work out for them that way, or they don't possess those qualities enough to see you as being real. They see you as too good to be true. And we're going to talk about that next time. But really love y'all. And I hope that any of this was worth something, because I actually didn't get to go on my walk today. I'm doing this before my walk because I feel like I'm going to take a long time. I think I'm going to take a long time today. So, yeah, but I really didn't get to get my thoughts all the way together. So, I hope that this is okay. And I love y'all, and I hope y'all have a good day and enjoy your 2026. Bye.